And we're starting a new story, the Ecstatic Kirtana Svarupa Damodar. This is text 37 through 57 of Caitanya Bhagavata chapter 10, Antyakanda, part 2. Bhagavata patte garadhara mahashai, Damodar sarupera kirtana vishai. As Gadadhar Pandit was expert in reciting Bhagavatam, Svarupa Damodar was expert in performing Krishna Gun Kirtan. Kirtan glorifying the qualities of Lord Caitanya and Lord Sri Krishna. Sri Damodar Svarupa was always engaged in glorifying the topics of Hari. Svarupa Damodar had no other engagement than glorifying the guna, Hari Gun Kirtan. Gadadhar Pandit always engaged in pure Krishna Kirtan without becoming influenced by others' opinions, persistent requests, or mixed doctrines. Svarupa Damodar Goswami exclusively gave pleasure to Sri Gaurasundar's heart. Ekeshwara Damodara Sarupa Gunagai Vivala Haya Nache Shri Gaurangarai. Beautiful name. Shri Gaurangarai. Whenever Svarupa Damodar chanted Krishna's qualities, who is one without a second, Lord Gauranga would become overwhelmed and dance in ecstasy. And because he was in ecstatic bliss, relishing the Mahabhav Rasa of Radharani, that Mahabhav, that great experience of love, then all the sattvic, ashtasattvic vikars were blooming in his heart and mind and body. Ashru kampa hasya morcha pulaka hunkar yatta kichu ache prema bhaktira vikar. Prema bhakti vikar. Murtimanta sabe take ishwarer stan nachena chaitanya chandra inha savarsan. What kind of transformations did Gauranga experience? In his ecstatic love, his prema bhakti vikara, he was crying profusely and shivering and laughing uncontrollably. He fainted. His hairs were standing on end. And he was crying loudly in ecstasy. And all of these ecstatic symptoms actually manifested personified forms and danced along with Gaurachandra. So this is the vision of Vrindavan Das Thakur, that they all took, that tears became a person. They were dancing because Lord Caitanya was a dancing form of ecstatic prema bhakti vikar, of tears. He was a dancing form of hair standing on end. His entire body was dancing. The same concept is there in other rasic kavis and Vaishnavas, acharyas, when they write about, they say that Prema was making Krishna dance and Radha dance, and Prema itself was also dancing. So if Prema is dancing, then certainly Prema is made of what? Various vikars, Prema Bhakti Vikara, transformation Vikara due to Prema. So he's saying exactly how Prema was. There was eight forms of Prema. There were dancing hair standing on end, and there were dancing tears, and there were Prema in personified forms were all dancing. Damodar Saruper Ucha Sankirtan Shunile Netaki Baya Pari Sekshana. When Gauranga heard the exuberant chanting of Svarupa Damodar, Gauranga lost consciousness and fell to the ground in divine ecstasy. He forgot everything about this world and left in a swoon of prema, absorbed in Radhabhav. When we go on Sankirtan, we encourage everyone to chant loudly. People on Harinam say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like, why bother? Why come? If you want to do japa, stay home. Sankirtan, the street means uchas. That's the time for ati uchasik nam. Even people come out. I see people come to Harinam party with japa bag. I said, listen, Jack, I take it off their neck. Get out of here. Put this in your pocket. You're here to chant loudly for the pleasure of Gauranga and Radha and Krishna. Otherwise, get lost. Go home and sleep with your japa bag. Now you want to walk and chant japa and sleep out here. Sleepwalk on that. This is not the place. I never saw Prabhupada come on Sankirtan with his japa bag. In Rath Yatra, he gets down dancers, who leave the java bag. This is everywhere. It says ucha. It says Sankirtan. Ucha Sa. You ever hear 20 devotees went out on Manasik Sankirtan. Have you been on Manasik Sankirtan? There was Manasik Mridangas. There was 16 Manasik Mridangas and 32 Manasik kartals. So what is in between? It's like little japa, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'd rather go out with 2 people chanting from their heart than 25 people sleepwalking. When I'm from America, we went on Harinam. Harinam, everyone knew the tattva, they had the feelings, and it was like a unison of crying hearts. This is Sankirtan, a unison of crying hearts. It's not a show of expertise. Hey, I'm cool. If I'm leading, I sing. Otherwise, I just meditate on the scenery. There's devotees like that. If they lead, then they're like so much into it. If they're not leading, it's like... I've seen so many. If I'm leading, but then somebody else is leading, you're leading. When I have you seen? You must have seen. Have you seen? You may be one of those. Think that if the mirror shows you, then it's you. We're not wearing shoes here because we're barefoot in the Dham. But you see yourself in the mirror, then believe it, it's you. Because the Guru shows a mirror of your own soul. Sannyasi parshara jata ishvarera hai Damodara Svarupa samana keho nai. Svarupa Damodar was the foremost of all the eternal associates and sannyasis. We understand from this verse that in Sankirtan, Lord Caitanya, why is Svarupa Damodar chanting loudly? Excuse me? Yes, that's there. Another reason. Why does a devotee do anything he does? To please his Ishtadev. So who is the Ishtadev of Svarupa Damodar? Mahaprabhu and Radharani. So does Radharani like loud Sankirtan? Does Krishna like loud Sankirtan? Does Lord Gauranga like loud Sankirtan? So then, do I go on Harinam Sankirtan to please myself or to please Gauranga and Radha and Krishna? You think it's easy to dance enthusiastically when you're 63? Well, I'd like to see. Oh, he's just into it. I'm not into it. Oh. I push myself to please the Lord because I know what Prabhupada likes. I've been in 20 kirtans and Prabhupada, we're jumping like anything. Prabhupada goes, his hands on like this and he goes like this. He moves his finger like this or he goes like this. He wants us to jump more. He just moves his finger. Maybe his hands are on the bolsters and he's looking. He's not always playing, he's just looking and he goes, jump more, so we go more. I was jumping 3 feet off the ground when I was 24. Now I'm 64, I'm only jumping 3 inches. But at least I'm jumping. Jagannath Das Babaji, when he discovered Gauranga's place, and he knows that Gauranga likes chanting and dancing, so he didn't sit in his basket, hey, cool man, Janmastan. You heard of Jagannath Das Babaji? He was 143 years old. They took him to Janmastan. He said, they took him to he said, this is Srivas Angam. This is an all area Janmastan. As he got out to join in the kirtan, he said, oh yeah, I'll do some layback kirtan here. I'll do some basket case kirtan. He was jumping. Everyone's heard he's jumping. He saw Gauranga. He saw, if you can see the Janmastan, which is uppercut, then you can see who's there. If you can see Mahaprabhu Bhavan, which he did, that means he's also seen a Panchatattva. As he's a Siddha can see the Aprakrita Leela. He sees the Prakrita Leela here in Prakritam. his Leela Darshan. That's why they brought him there to confirm it. So he saw everyone else was chanting and dancing and singing loudly. He said, well, what is it? I have my Svarupa and Gaur Leela, forget this body. He jumps out, Bihari put the basket down. Bihari was his servant. So he put the basket down, he starts dancing. And everyone's saying, oh, he's mad in ecstasy because they're discovering. He's seeing the Panchatattva dancing. He wants to take part. So Sri Damodar is the foremost. Jata priti ishvadera puri gosanire, Damodara sarupere tata priti kare. Gauranga had so much affection through Damodar, just as he had for Paramananda Puri. So we'll continue there tomorrow. Caitanya Bhagavata ki jai. Antilila, Part 2, Chapter 10. The story of the ecstatic Kirtan of Sri Damodar Goswami. And we heard some of his characteristics, that as Gadadhar Pandit was expert in Bhagavat Pat, Gadadhar Pandit was expert in Kirtan. And whenever he sang, Gauranga would dance in ecstasy and experience sattvic vikars, all of them. And there was so much he was experiencing that Vrindavan Thakur said they took personified forms. Ashru, crying, took personified forms, was dancing along with Lord Gauranga. And hair standing in and took personified form, was dancing along with Gauranga. And we heard, of course, when they describe Prem in Radha Krishna's Leelas, that Prem makes Radha dance and Prem makes Krishna dance, and Prem itself is also dancing separately. But here it's described Prema Bhakti Vikara, we heard yesterday, that Prema Bhakti Vikara, the Prema Bhakti is dancing, but even all the different elements and components of Prema in the form of transformations in the body, involuntary transformations in the body called sattvic vikaras, are also dancing and then taking on personified forms. So it's quite amazing. And Lord Caitanya would be so much absorbed in ecstasy when Sri Damodar was leading Kirtan that he would collapse and swoon and fall on the ground, unconscious, loses consciousness. Let's say loses external consciousness, but he's absorbed in internal braj bhav. He was the foremost of all the sannyasis staying there with him. This is the new verse we're starting on, text 43. Damodara Svarupa Sangita Rasamai Yandra Dwani Shravane Prabhura Nritya Hai. Sri Damodar's singing was saturated with bhakti ras. His kirtan was called Rasamaya Kirtan. Now that's something to think about. Sangit Rasamai. His Sangit, his singing, his kirtan was Rasamai, full of ras. What ras? Brajaras. And what flavor of Brajaras? The Mahabhav of Radharani and Lalita, and the Nayakas, the Parama Preshta Sakis. Devyad Brindaranya Kalpa Jumaraj, Shimad Ratnagara Samastanasto, Shimad Radha Govinda Deva, Preshta Alibi, Sevimano Smarami. Preshta Alibi, Sevimano Smarami. Preshta Alibi, the Preshta Alibis are the Preshta Gopis, Parama Preshta Gopis. Ashtasakis, Malita Vishaka, Champak Chitra, Andaleka, Tungavedi, Sudevi, Rangadevi. Their type of bhav. So he was so expert in the art of melodious singing that Mahaprabhu could never keep himself from dancing whenever he heard him sing. Whenever he heard Sri Damodar sing, he would start dancing. Of course, we can't really compare the Lord to devotees, the Lord and his Nitya Parikars, to those amongst us. But I can say, because it's almost like whenever Krishna, because if you take it to the other level, Gaur Leela going into Krishna Leela, then whenever Radharani would sing, then Krishna would dance like anything. Whenever Lita Saki would sing, then Krishna would dance. And then there's in Govinda Leela Amrita and also in Rasa Leela, when one gopi would dance in a particular way, then Krishna would say, Sarvati, Sarvati, excellent, excellent. And it's described in Krishna Bhavanamrita, in the Rasa Leela description, Then one gopi was doing like cartwheels, like these girls do cartwheels, puts her hand down like that, and she was dancing, and her braid was spinning, and her leg was going in the sky, and she was leaning. One lady was bending her back totally like a bow, and so her hands were touching behind her back, and she was doing cartwheels around sideways like this, and amazing feats of dance and acrobats and the rasa dance. And different gopis are describing how they were dancing. Krishna was, very inspired, and he would dance alongside of them. And sometimes Radharani, when she was dancing, an ankle bell would fall off, or anklet, the ankle bells. Then Krishna, and she wouldn't even know it because Radharani's absorbed in the singing and dancing, all the sakhis and manjaris, and she's dancing and Krishna's dancing. I mean, he would see that, he would notice, because he notices everything about Radharani, and he's in tune because he's playing his flute. Because you see even posters of Krishna dancing and playing his flute. So he's playing his flute and dancing with Radharani, and every part of Radharani's body is musical. Her movements are musical, her eyes are musical, her voice is musical, her bangles are musical, her nupura, her kinkini mala, her waist bells are musical. Nupura means her ankle bells, and bangles, she has bangles, ching ching ching, and nupura, jing jing jing, and ting ting ting. And so her whole body is Gandharvika, Radha. Gandharvika, she's like the embodiment of Sangeet, Visharad, Ati Ati Visharad. And so then, and everything's, all of the instruments, all these are like instruments, the bangles, and the kinkini waist bells and ankle bells, nupura, and her melodious singing, and her movements of her body. And then Krishna's playing his flute in tune, the ragas are flowing, raga and raganis, the raga and raganis are moving together. And suddenly Radharani's anklets, called anklets, ankle bells, fall off, and the exuberance of her dancing. And he just hears, one instrument is gone silent. One of the instruments has gone silent. And Radharani is so much absorbed in the ecstasy of pleasing Krishna by so many beautiful mudras of her hands and poses and dancing. Then Krishna notices, because his ear is tuned, he's dancing to every one of Radharani's instruments, her bangles. He's moving according. Something's missing. Then he looked and he saw in the dust and the kaphir sands of the Yamuna Tata at the Rasastali, Rasmandala, and Yamuna. He saw, so he danced so expertly, Vishnu says that, or maybe Krishna's, that he picked that up. In one dancing movement, he went like this and scooped it up with his finger, and then without even Radharani noticing it, he went to and he as part of a dance movement, because he's Krishna, he can do everything just by Icha. But he went down. He fastened her ankle bell. It's like the what was it? Orchestra leader. What do they call it? There's a name for it. Conductor. The conductor of a symphony. So the conductor was, one instrument is not playing here, and then, so Anandakana Bhagavana ki. So this is the dancing and the Krishna Leela. So Gaur Leela takes us to Krishna Leela. Is it possible? Do you think so? But then I don't know so much about these leelas, but we have also experience. There's different ways of analysis, of course. There's Shruti Smriti and the Acharya Vani and Mahajan Vakya and Anuman and Naya and all the grammar and all these things you can analyze according. You take the Sanskrit words. San, Git, Rasa, Maya. What is San? And then Ita. Then they can. So that's Vyakaran and all this expertise. But there's also the common experience, which what do you call it? That's pratyaksha. What do you call your common experience as a platform for understanding? Common experience. Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha. Anubhav. Yeah, what? Anubhav. What you? So it's I'm not in Krishna's Leela or Gaur Leela. I just try to show you the comparison of those, how it flows together. The Anugraha Gaur Leela brings us to the Madhurya Krishna Leela. But back to Alokik Leela. The Alokik reality of our common sense experience of day-to-day life. The humdrum, ho, here we go again life. But it's actually not, because even devotees' lives, the charitra of the Vaishnavas, the daily activities of Vaishnavas are also worthy. As Hanuman, whenever he hears the glories of Ram being chanted, he comes and he sits there invisibly to hear. Murari Bapu once was speaking Harikatha. He's a famous sant of Gujarat, former mathematics teacher. He was a mathematics teacher in his early 20s, and he got inspired somehow, and became a famous pracharak of Ram and Krishna Katha, especially Ram Katha. He's a Hanuman Bhakta. Once Bhaktisiddhanta Das, my godbrother, was making a murti of Hanuman for him. He came and met him in his studio down by Madan Mohan, as Kishori temple there, whatever they call it. And he had a studio there. And he showed me, and he said, I want a big fiberglass murti of Hanuman, and when I give Katha, I'll put that on the stage. And so he told him how big he wanted. So Bhaktisiddhanta Das, he made this murti, and he's big. He's sitting and he's playing. I think he's just sitting like this. He's sitting in meditation. And he's big. He's about maybe 10 feet wide. And he goes up about 12 feet or so. It's all proportion. He's like, when he's sitting, it's about 10 feet from, like this. And huge, but lightweight because fiberglass. So somehow that would be carried by truck from venue to venue in India. So then he ordered it, and then he changed his mind. But he already paid 2 lakhs. But what happened once when he was giving Ram Katha, then he had darshan of Hanuman. And Murari Bapu, from then on, he was like convinced. He saw, he almost fainted or something. So the idea is that when the Lord's glories are being spoken, then the devotees, like the great devotees, he's a Chiranjeev, Hanuman's a Chiranjeev, he got that benediction. From Brahma, he also gave him benediction, as all the demigods are giving blessings. So one Brahma said, you can live as long as I do. He said, that's not enough, because he had swallowed the sun planet, and he grabbed Indra's thunderbolt, and he also swallowed Airavata. So they all came to beg for these things back. So he said, what will you give me? So Vayu gave him one thing, and you can go as fast as the wind, and someone else. So Brahma said, you can live as long as I do. And then it wasn't until, I forget who, someone said, you'll never die or something, I forget. He said, you live. So he's a Chiranjeev, Hanuman. So as the devotees manifest to hear the glories of the Lord also comes to hear the glories of the devotees and see the glories of the devotees. As I mentioned the other day in Bury Place in London, when Prabhupada was glorifying Gauranga's Leela, Gaur Katha, in the Sandhyarti Kirtan, then Narada Muni came with his father. Father and son dropped in on the Parampara representative in England, the Brahma Sampradaya, Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. And then Brahmaji and his son Narada came for the evening Kirtan. Regularly they were coming to hear Prabhupada glorify Gauranga. Kiba Jayo, Jaya Gora Chanti, Aroti Kashobha, Janavitatavane, Jagamanalova. You ever heard Prabhupada sing? Kiba Jayo, Jayo Gora Chant. So touching. There's a couple different melodies, but that's the one Prabhupada would sing, very slow. And you've heard? It's on the vintage tapes, Prabhupada vintage. And this is how we used to sing when I joined. And the Radha Krishna Temple album, it was recorded in Apple Studios in 1969 with Yamuna and all that whole gang, Shamsundar and all them. They sang that melody. Kiva Jayo. You never heard? No. Maybe you heard, because your father's the old devotee. So here, this is Swarupa Damodar singing is amazing. So I was saying that from Lokik Leela, our experience, whenever I hear Lokanath Swami lead Kirtan, I want to dance. And if no one else is dancing, then I go and get everyone dancing. So much I like, because I'm 25 years preaching in Delhi, ISKCON, East of Kailash. And he's the regional secretary for Delhi Temple, and I used to stay in his room in M Block Market. When the original temple before East of Kailash was M119, which is 2, number 2, Radha and Krishna. 119 becomes 2. A very auspicious place to worship Radha and Krishna. Right near M Block Market, M for Mukunda Block. And he had a room upstairs with an air cooler on it. I remember many a summer afternoon staying there and going to college preaching, and JNU? Yeah. Is there such a thing in Delhi? JNU. And Stevens? SIT. Stevens Institute of Technology, is there such a thing? Or St. Stephen's? There's no Stevens Institute of Technology. St. Stephen's. Oh, it's a Christian place. Yeah, we'd go there, and we'd only go late at night in the dorms. We would leave the temple at 10 o'clock for preaching, 9 o'clock, because it's a long way to go north Delhi or something. Kripanidhi and Mahanidhi. One sannyasi and one grihastha. My godbrother, he was temple president in those days, 1986, 85, whenever I'd go. And we'd be in we have 5, 10, 20 these college students and have these heated debates in the rooms because college students are so much cocky. And Kripanidhi was from South America, or he's from that side, so he's a real energetic type. Like a little hot head, you know. He's from, I think his mother is... Yeah, maybe like that. Yeah, something like that. A great preacher, great devotee. Really, even today he's preaching like anything. In Canada, I think. And I really valued his association. So we'd go there and tackle all these college tigers and turn them into pussycats. With the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Will you say this? Listen, you don't understand. You're not trying to make any logic of what you're saying. But he was a very good philosopher, and he was a very good preacher. I was just kind of carrying his book back. We leave like 1 o'clock, and then I would go to Mangalartik, and he wasn't to be seen for a while. So I remember those days. But at any rate, when Lokanath Swami, I have a long time association with him, so he agreed to write a review for our book, Art of Chanting, in Marathi language. And because of that, it's been very helpful for the distribution of the book in Marathi. And Radhanath Swami also wrote a review. But we'd be in East Kailash, I remember especially there, and in the guest house, and he's leading a kirtan, Guru Puja. And I said, because you don't know when he's coming, he's coming and going, traveling. Is that Lokanath Swami? Because there's one devotee, Mahanrupa, that tries to sing like him. He's a protege of Lokanath Swami. He's a good kirtan man, Mahanrupa Das, temple president. A lot of times I think it's him imitating. And then I listen. No, I feel something in my heart different. So I ran down, and sure enough, he was leading. And everyone's because for me it's rare, because I'm coming from Vrindavan, I never hardly see him, or never get to dance in a kirtan. I live a very boring life. And so then I went to temple, and devotees were just not, okay, another kirtan. I went in and I said, this kirtan is fantastic. And I looked up, and I said, and I started dancing near him too, and he got encouraged. Then I looked around and said, come on, you guys, get going. And I just started grabbing everybody, get dancing, and pretty soon circles, and then Loknath took the microphone off. He was going back and forth. And the kirtan went till 9 o'clock. It was supposed to be class at 8 o'clock. It was like started at 7:45, the kirtan. Went till 9. And people were coming for class, and where's class? And we didn't know. And all the ladies and all the congregation and Kriyas coming for class, they were all against the wall. They were all like this. And we took up the whole temple of dancing in a circle, and it's like... Special. And this is the effect of when it's kirtan, you want to dance. So, I mean, I can't ever understand what it's like to be in this Leela of the Lord, but whenever Svarupa Damodar would sing his melodious singing, his Rasamaya Kirtan, Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu couldn't keep himself from dancing. He couldn't sit still. He couldn't just sit like a bump on a log. Alakshita Rupa Keo Chinitena Pare Kapatire Rupe Jena Bulena Nagare. Svarupa Damodar remained incognito as he wandered around the city so that no one could recognize him. That's one translation. Another translation says, although he was such an exalted Vaishnava, or he is such an exalted Vaishnava, Svarupa Damodar Goswami, and so near and dear to Radha and Krishna as Lalita and to Ranga as Svarupa Damodar, he's his confidential servant, most confidential servant, one of 3.5. Svarupa Damodar, Ramananda, Shiki Mahiti, and his elder sister Madhavi, Param Vaishnavi. He was with Mahaprabhu in the most intimate, confidential moments of internal ecstasy. And of course he was an integral part of Krishna's learning of the lesson of Mahabhav, the Radha Mahima, Radha Pranaya Mahima. What is the Radha Pranaya Mahima? Who knows better than Lita Saki and Vishaka? So they are key teachers, and the school was the Gambhira, and the place of this whole teaching was Puri, and Jagannath was Shyamsundar, or is Shyamsundar. So it says that although he is so exalted, this translation, Alakshita Rupa, he had so much, he was a form of so many qualities. Keno Chinite Napari. Yet, although he was like that, yet Sri Damodar was extremely unassuming, and he went about his business quietly, making sure he was undetected. Very different translation. This is from Sarvabhavana's book. Sometimes I consult where there's quite a variant. It's called variant in translation, and significant difference of conception one to the other. Damodar remained incognito as he wandered around the city so that no one could recognize him. It sounds like Ramachandra disguising himself and to spy on the public to see what the Dobiwalas are saying about him. And that led to the banishment. What the Dobiwala's statement led to the banishment of Sita to the ashram of Valmiki's ashram while she was pregnant with Love and Kush. But it wasn't. He was unassuming. He was playing a back seat, low key. He went about his business quietly, making sure that he was undetected. Here the purport says, as Mahaprabhu covered his position, Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, so he's not showing that to anyone. He's hiding that identity. I'm just a bhakta. Let me fold your clothes. Let me carry your clothes. Let me carry your puja paraphernalia back from the Ganga when he came back from Gaya. Let me wash your gamsha after you bathe. And don't say that I'm God. So he was trying, and if anyone even alluded to the fact that he's Bhagavan, or actually Krishna, he didn't like it. So as he was covering his true identity, Swarup Damodar was just appearing, as it says here, he was concealing his actual identity. I'm just a devotee. Only a devotee? Lalita, we know you're Lalita Saki. Whenever he wandered throughout the city, he concealed his identity. Whenever he wandered around throughout the city, disguised as a devotee. So Mahaprabhu didn't show any, to the general public, he didn't show that he was God. Kirtan karite jena tambura narada eka prabhu nachayena kiyara sampad. Swarup Damodar would induce Mahaprabhu to dance by performing kirtan as nicely as Narada Muni sings, accompanied by his stringed instrument known as tumburu. What could be more glorious? In Kirtan, Swarup Damodar was like, another translation, in Kirtan, Swarup Damodar was like Narada Muni with his Veena Tamburu. And no one but Sri Caitanya Dev danced to his tune. Sanyasira Madhya Ishvarera Priya Patra Aranahi Eka Puri Gosaini Se Matra. Among all the beloved sannyasis of Mahaprabhu, none of them were as favored by the Lord as Paramananda Puri. So this, of course, now it's a little bit about Paramananda, but it's actually still Swarup Damodar's ecstatic dancing, which we heard in a little more, few glories. Damodara Swarupa Paramananda Puri Sannyasi Parshade Dui Adhikari. Paramananda Puri and Swarup Damodar were the two most qualified devotees among the Lord's sannyasi associates. Niravadi Nikate Takena Dui Jan Prabhuro Sannyase Kari Dandere Grahan. These two personalities always remained with the Lord. They accepted sannyas to assist Mahaprabhu in his sannyas pastimes. Prabhura sannyas kari dandagrahan. Puri dhyana para damodarera kirtan nyasi rupe nyasi de bahuduijan. Paramananda Puri was always engaged in meditation, and Sri Sarup Damodar Goswami was always engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this way, these two sannyasis, Nyasi Rupe, were like the arms of Lord Caitanya. Damodar Sarup was fond of performing kirtan. Probably that's why Prabhupada gave the name Sarup Damodar to our godbrother, Thudam, Professor Thudam Singh of Mayapur, who graduated from University of California, Irvine. And he was Kshatriya from Manipur, and he was always a fantastic singer of this Narottam Das Thakur's kirtan style, because he's initiated. It's also this is my friend Shukadev Das from the Gopal Mandir. He's initiated before he came to ISKCON by Narottam Das Thakur Sampradaya. And his father's initiated. But then he joined ISKCON and he got initiated in ISKCON. So that style, there's a special style of singing, Narottam's kirtan style, which is really unknown in ISKCON. Most of the devotees that sing Bengali kirtan, there's some famous devotees, as you know who they are. They learned the Bangladeshi style of kirtan, which is Gorahati. It's called Gorahati. But the style of kirtan of Narottam Das Thakur is quite difficult and much more complicated. So he knows that from birth, and his disciples are very fond of singing that style. There's something different, have you ever heard? But it grows on you. And he was already singing like that when he met Prabhupada, although he's a professor, and we just think of him as a scientist and all these things. But I knew him as a friend through this Gopal Mandir temple. I got to know him. We spent time together whenever he'd come there in Kartik. And he was very much into kirtan throughout his college days and throughout his life. So he is very devoted Lord. So another point, and so he was named Sarup Damodar by Prabhupada, because Prabhupada must be understanding what a great kirtan person he is. Oftentimes, Babaji say, what is this sannyas that was introduced by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati? But the arguments are given that Lord Chaitanya was surrounded by so many sannyasis. Then they say, no, but we followed 6 Goswamis, and after Sanat Goswami, no one accepted red cloth. But here, this is very interesting. This very good verse to look at. It said they accepted. It said Niravadi Nikate Takena Duijan Prabhura Sannyase Kare Dandara Grahan. That Sarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda, and Paramananda Puri, they always remain with Lord Gauranga, and they accepted sannyas to assist the Lord in his sannyas pastimes. So they took sannyas to propagate the satisfaction and spread the pastime, to increase the satisfaction and pleasure of Lord Gauranga, and to take part in his pastimes. Pastimes of Gauranga are eternally going on, the Sankirtan Leela, preaching to the Jagais and Madhais, liberated conditioned souls, engaging in Harikatha and Kirtan. What is Lord Chaitanya's pastimes? It's Kirtan Ras and a song of Rasika Bhavulikas. Advanced devotees, they relish the Kirtan, Leela Kirtan, Guna Kirtan. But then there's Harinam Sankirtan for the benefit of the fallen souls, the Doyal Chaitanya. And he's dancing for them, and he's dancing his way into the hearts of the conditioned souls and capturing their minds with the holy name. And this way people can surrender to Gauranga's Sankirtan movement. In the same way, the followers of Lord Chaitanya are dancing their ways into the hearts. They're dancing into the hearts because they're dancing everywhere, even to this day. Dancing is part of Gauranga's Sankirtan mission. So this eternal pastimes going on. And they'll be displayed, the pastimes of Gauranga will be displayed in this world for 10,000 years. Lord Krishna displayed his pastimes in this world for 125 years of earth time. Lord Caitanya displayed his personal Prakat Leela for 48 years. But he said that my Sankirtan Leela, which is what we're talking about, the dancing, the chanting, the liberation aspect, will go on for 10,000 years. So how's it going on? It's going on. It's prakat for the members of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, and it's aprakat in terms of the presence of Lord Chaitanya's tangible, visible presence. But for the pure devotees, he's there. So, the one is engaged in meditation, Paramananda Puri, and the other is engaged in kirtan. This fan is very fast. This is number one. My number one goes like this. And it talks about these sannyasis were the root of the tree of his preaching, something like this. There's some reference, 12 sannyasis, or there's a whole description in that chapter about the tree of devotional service and Adi Lila. And they were the main philosophical branches, or they represented key aspects of his mission as a foundation, sannyasis, because generally any preaching mission is based on the sannyasis, whether it's Mayavad or whatever. It's not grihastas that are leading it up. Either it's sannyasi, because sannyasi includes Babaji is also sannyasi. Because in the Satkriya Sardipika, or there's two of them, Satkriya Sardipika and the other one. There's two of them. One for grihastas, one for sannyas. Satkriya Sardipika. No, there's two by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. One's called Satkriya Sardipika, Vidyapurna translated in English with Balaswami.
In this example, it looks more like they are fulfilling his internal mission rather than his external mission.
Yeah. But then it's also saying here, that one was expert in meditation, one was expert in kirtan. He's saying that also. So that's also, those are limbs of the preaching mission to show the example of meditation. Can't say too much. I haven't read much specifically. There's some mention of that about these sannyasis were the foundation of the movement. So Damodar was fond of performing kirtan, and Paramananda Puri was renounced and engaged. Samskara Deepika and Satkriya Sardipika. So Samskara Deepika, that's for the grihastas. And Satkriya Sardipika, it gives all the rules of sannyas. Kopan Pratishta, the installation of Prithvi and Laja and Prithvi and Lakshmi in the Kopian. There's Kopan, sannyasi are given Kopans, there's a whole installation, puja, is done. And yagya. Whether one is sannyasi, vairagi sannyasi, or whether he's a vairagi parama Babaji. They're both called sannyas. Some take red cloth, some take white cloth. And Gopi Baba mantra is there. So one was engaged in worshipping the Lord through meditation, worshipping the Lord through meditation. So it's showing not that that's not an internal aspect there. He's worshipping the Lord through meditation. In the sannyas body of Lord Gaurasundar, they were like two arms. The sannyas body is the preaching body. But the internal body is something different, because the danda was broken in 3 places, so there's no sannyas anymore. He's experiencing Radha's bhav, Radha Kanti Radha. So there's the internal antardasha, Gauranga Mahaprabhu's experience, and then there's the external acting as a sannyasi and preaching to Prakashananda Saraswati. That's the sannyas, the preacher, that was spreading the philosophy and the tattva, meeting the tattvavadis and correcting misconceptions. And the Buddhists, he met the Buddhists, he met all the acharyas everywhere. He met the heads of missions everywhere. They were sannyasis, so therefore they're exacting as a sannyasi.
But Mahanidhi Puri and Svarupa Damodar had more pastimes in Jagannath Puri than before.
They came there to join him.
Yes.
So they came to give support to his sannyas mission of whatever that was in Puri, which is mostly internal, as you're saying.
Yes.
I can't comment because I don't have any awareness more than what I'm saying. Can pursue that question. Aharanisha Gora Chandra Sankirtana Range Viharena Damodara Sarupara Sange. Day and night, Gaurachandra enjoyed performing Kirtana with Svarupa Damodar. Because this theme, this Leelas and lessons from Chaitanya Bhagavata, the ecstatic chanting of Svarupa Damodar. So much is emphasized here about that. Sankirtana Range, Sarupara Sange. Day and night. Ki Shayane, Ki Bhojane, Ki Paryatane, Damodari Prabhuna Chadena Konakshane. While sleeping, eating, or moving about, Svarupa Damodar would never leave the Lord for even a moment. I guess that's the beauty of Gaur Leela, because in Krishna Leela there's separation from the Parishad. Sometimes Lita is separated from Krishna. Whenever Radharani is separated, so is Lalita. But when Lalita came to Svarupa Damodar, then no separation. So Damodar always assisted the Lord, whether the Lord was sleeping, eating, or traveling. There was not a moment when Svarupa Damodar was separated from the Lord. I can't say that about Lita Saki. That's why they say this is Parishishta Leela. Gaur Leela is Parishishta Leela, Krishna Leela. It's the fulfillment. Because the Govardhan Leela was something like that. Fulfillment. Nitya Sambhog. That all the Brijvasis and all the four rasas, they all got to be with Krishna. All the dasas were there, and all the friends were there, and all the mothers were there. Because all the mothers loved to see Krishna also. But they were thinking, oh, Yashoda gets to see him all the time, day and night. We only get to see him when he goes out for Gocharan. And all the villagers follow him to the forest. And he says goodbye about 10 times. Okay, go back now. Okay, we'll go back. Oh, bye. And they kiss. And they run back. Oh, Krishna. And again they meet. Mom, go back. And then all the villagers go, and it goes like this, and they go like that, and they go like... And all the cows are looking, come on. And Krishna says, the cows are calling, come. We have to go, we have to go. He said, my mothers are calling. All my mothers, there's 9 lakhs of mothers, and you're only Rohini, and you showed us so many here. Let me go, let me go. Then he engaged them. He said, listen, you go home, and I want to hear that you've taken bath and given charity to all the Brahmins, and you've both taken your breakfast. And then I'll be happy. If I don't hear that news, I won't come back. So you go now so you can do that so I can come back soon. And Nanda Maharaj, make some more bats for us. Because we were playing with amalaki fruits the other day and we broke so many of our ball bats. So go get some new bats made by the artisans, craftsmen. So you have some service to do now. Go home and do some service. Everyone has to do service. Even Krishna's father. Krishna's engaging everyone in devotional service. Even his father and mother. Purvashrame Purushotam Acharya Namatan Priya Saka Pundarika Vidyanidinam. In his Purva ashram, prior ashram, Svarupa Damodar was known as Purushottam Acharya, and he was married. He had a dear friend named Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Good company, huh? Lalita Sakhi and Vrishabhanu Maharaj. He who was known in the Lord Gauranga's Navadvip pastimes as Purushottam Bhattacharya became famous as Damodar Svarupa during Mahaprabhu's Nilachala pastimes. The elderly Pundarik Vidyanidhi was his dearmost friend. Naturally, he has to be elderly because Vrishabhanu is quite a bit older than Lalita Sakhi, who is only 14 years, so many months and so many days. Patte chalitio Prabhu Damodaragan Nachina Vivalahaya Pattanahijan. Even while walking on the road, whenever Gauranga heard Svarupa Damodar sing, he would become overwhelmed with ecstasy and forget the way. That's some powerful singing. This singing of Svarupa Damodar was like a hypnotic trance. It was like jadoo. What is that? Where am I? I don't know where I am. He was transported to another level of reality. Your kirtanas put wings on my heart. Now I'm flying out of this body into the higher dimension.
It's amazing that even the Lord himself can absorb himself in his pastime, but he needs the support of his associates to enter.
Yeah, that's it. Adi Leela chapter 4.
Then comes in for the Lord to relish.
Yeah, that's what they say. Even some people say, "Oh, now I'm advanced. Now I don't have to go to classes or associate." Yeah, if you're a Bhava Bhakta, you associate with devotees. If you're a Prema Bhakti, you associate with devotees. If you're God, you associate with devotees.
In this case, he's trying to understand Radhani's love. So Lalita Sakhi, Uddhav play a very important role.
Essential, not very important. Forget the way. That's what Adi Leela says. Without the Sakhis the pastimes don't go anywhere. They nourish all the pastimes, make them rich. It's like students. Without students, where's the teacher? What's the value of a teacher? Okay, we're having class today. And I sit down. There's no one here. Okay, walls. Listen, it's like this. Yeah. Do you have any questions? South wall. Do you have any questions? North wall. Hey, you're off the wall. Hey, wall, you're off the wall. Oh, you smiled. Ekeshwara Damodara Svarupa Samati. Prabhu say Anande Pade. Najanera Kati Hambramasmi, right? Kiva Jala, Kiva Stala, Kiva Vanadhal. Kichuna Janina Prabhu Garjena Vishal. Ekeshwara Damodara Kirtana Karena Prabhure Vanedale Padite Darena Damodara Sarupera Bhagerai Jai Simha Damodara Sarupa Se Tahara Upama. Gauranga Mahaprabhu would relish such ecstasy in the Sangha of Damodar Svarupa that he would not understand where he was. He was lost, bewildered. Gauranga would not know whether he is in the water, on the ground, in the forest, or in the bushes. And he would loudly cry out, Garjena Vishal, Kichu na Janena Prabhu, Kichu, I don't know where I am. Form kirtan alone with the Lord. Whenever the Lord would fall in the forest or in the bushes, Svarupa Damodar would catch hold of him. The limit of Svarupa Damodar's good fortune is found only in Svarupa Damodar himself. Because Sri Damodar Svarupa was the constant companion of Sri Gaurasundar, his good fortune surpassed that of other devotees of Gaura. Bhaktisiddhanta's purport. So obviously, if someone is traveling around the world with Srila Prabhupada, with him 24/7, his fortune is much greater than so many other. And that's what I used to think. Boy, I wouldn't say they're really fortunate, these devotees that are with my Gurudev. I'm not so fortunate. I'm 2,982. Long back in the line out of 5,000. So you think, better luck next life. Because nothing comes by chance. It's almost by chance that I'm in a temple sweeping the floors and they're flying in first class, serving Prabhupada's Ayurvedic medicine. And we were so eager, we weren't envious, we were eager to hear what's the latest news from the wife or whatever. The wife, Kusha, was living in LA. Tell the news. Or remnants would come, and bites out of samosas and things like that. LA was the place to be if you wanted to get Prabhupada's remnants. They would come from all around, wherever Prabhupada was in the world, to LA airport, remnants would come. And they would come from there to the Sankirtan office, to the Sankirtan leader, because everyone knew that the Sankirtan devotees were the heart of Prabhupada's mission. So everyone, even Grihastas, they had that respect. First the Sankirtan devotees should get the remnants, because they were collecting the money also. There were 450 devotees in the LA community, and about 30 devotees, Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, were collecting all the money for everything. All food, clothing, diapers, everything. So it was a community. Everyone played their part, and no one was, oh, I'm out working and you're home painting. We didn't think like that. We were just one big family. We were young and had that talent to collect money and distribute books, so we used it. They were home raising Vaishnavis and Vaishnavas. That was their service. And Prabhupada just made everything work, gel together so beautifully. So even in Mahaprabhu Leela, the good fortune of some of the parishads or the devotees is comparatively greater. Whenever Mahaprabhu would fall in the forest or in the branches of the trees out of ecstasy, Sri Damodar Svarupa would display his matchless service propensity by completely protecting the transcendental body of the Lord, Mahaprabhu, from all kinds of injury. Since Mahaprabhu always remained intoxicated with ecstatic love, he seldom displayed external consciousness. At such times, Damodar would serve him in all respects. So that concludes the story of the ecstatic ecstatic Kirtana Sri Damodar, and certainly heard a lot of his exalted position and his intimate relationship with Lord Gauranga. Next is Gauranga. Tomorrow will be Gauranga and the Butter Well. Gauranga's Navanita Kup Leela.